friends in this church and some of everywhere. Oh, the Lord has been so good. Just have to give a testimony, the goodness of the Lord, because it's been a time like no other in my life. I heard people talk about the loss of their parent. And I think the most traumatic time in my life was when I lost my mother. And I heard some say maybe 5 years, 10, 15 years. My mother's been gone for 52 years. I was only 13, the dearest and sweetest thing in my life. Earthly, that is, but she saw me saved, saw her baby boy saved before she departed this life, and it was just a space of 3 or 4 months before she led me to Christ and went on home to be with the Lord. My world was crashing down, but the Lord saw me through all the way, through foster homes, what have you, into adulthood. And he promised never to leave us. And David said, once I was young, but now I'm old. Yet I've never seen the righteous forsaken.
Yes, Jesus.
Nor his seed begging bread. God has proved himself faithful. Even when we are not faithful to him, God says he's faithful. He cannot deny himself. So I thank God, and I've testified, I've been here, and you've kind of walked through my difficulties with me. The latest episode, and I had 4 hospitalizations in 2 months span. And there was one span there where it was 3 or 4 days when I could not urinate, could not defecate. First time in my life I ever had to be catheterized. It was an experience like no other. I mean, I was miserable, couldn't eat, just miserable. Lord, when will the deliverance come? Now I felt your prayers. In Acts chapter 12, we know that Peter was locked in jail. And prayers by the saints were made continually for him. They ceased not to pray. And it was so strong that when Peter walked through the door, Rhoda left him out there at the door. She ran back for excitement and said, Peter's at the door. They didn't believe it. They were still praying, and Peter was already at the door to come. While you're praying, here I come in. So the prayers of the saints and the prayers of the righteous availeth much. The latest episode, I was up at one of the churches I fellowship up in Spring Grove, and I went to one of the brothers and sisters' house there for them to help me to program my phone. And I hurt so bad, it was 2 nights before where I had gotten out of the hospital after that episode where I could not, where I could not urinate and whatnot. And the Lord brought me through that. So they sent me home, and must have been a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or so. The pain in my side was so severe, just like taking a deep breath, cough, whatever. I could not, just to take a deep breath. It felt as though my ribs would crack. And I, did home remedies and whatnot, and they had all the pain pills they had me through from my operations, and all on my spine. And I was at her house, and I had her. She and her husband prayed with me. But on the Thursday night, I believe it was, so I had to sleep. I could not lie down to sleep. I had to sit. They have those, whatever they call them. You sit up in this like a sofa. You're in the bed, you prop up on, you have your arms, and you sit and watch TV, whatever they call that thing. I forgot the name they call it. And that's the way I had to sleep. But I went in the next day to schedule my therapy, which I'm in physical therapy now for the strengthening of my back and my left leg. And I decided to go into the clinic and to see what was going on. And they took x-rays and all, and things didn't seem to be so. Well, it was a little bit nebulous, so they said, I think you need to go to the emergency room because we're not equipped to do all the things we need to do. You need to have another CT scan or so. So I was in Baltimore where all my hospital, all my doctors and everybody are. So I didn't come back to PA. Thank God I didn't, because when I went to the emergency room, it was just as the doctor suspicioned at the clinic. He says, I think you have a blood clot. And then sure enough, I had a blood clot on the lung and pneumonia. Now, if I had gone back home, who knows, it could have traveled to my heart or to my brain. Maybe I wouldn't be here today. But the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Not that I'm so good, but that's what the word says. So thank God for being led. But anyway, God brought me through that. Then I had a situation, it was like sometimes, when we talk about the fiery darts of the adversary, the Bible tells us in Ephesians to appropriate the armor. Have our feet sharp with the preparation of the gospel of peace. We know the pieces. And our breastplate of righteousness to protect our emotional life and whatnot, and helmet of salvation, all those things. And above all, take the shield of faith to quench all the fiery darts of the adversary. And sometimes it's like the devil may take one fiery dart and throw it at our head and see if we have the helmet of salvation. You know, if he can get in our thought life. And the time that we need the Lord the most, sometimes the adversary will have us to make God our enemy. Where, if you understand what I mean, Lord, where are you? And you're not, you know, you promised to be and you're not there. The devil, if you're not careful, speak to your mind and make the Lord your enemy. But sometimes, Brother Brad, it's like he will take the whole quiver full and throw a lot of darts all at once and everywhere. Look for the Achilles heel. Throw all of them everywhere. It's like they come from every direction. And part of what I was going through is that my home in Baltimore, they know I'm not there very often. So the local drug dealers have camped out, and my, oh my, they smoke that weed or whatever it is, those blunts, and lace it, and the language, and they know I don't want them loitering on my front step and selling, you know, the illegal drugs and whatnot. They leave their trash and things all over. I've gone to the police, I've talked with them, and it just as well be talking to the piano as to tell them not to come. Yes, okay, and they bring their trash and they just camp out. So I could antagonize, you know, and it would get progressively worse. But Lord, what about the situation? You know, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to engage them. I don't feel like, really, to tell you the truth, I really don't feel like telling the story of Jesus to them. I feel so bad. I don't want to hear the argument and try to come up and, you know, they talk, well, I'm Islam. I'm Muslim, you know, and have to deal with that. I mean, you know, we have the word, but I don't want to deal with that right now. I'm going through too much on my own, if you understand what I'm saying. But I felt that the Lord spoke to me and my spirit what to do, as I had done before when I moved there for the first time in '86. When I got the neighborhood kids together for a basketball team because they were camping on my steps. And I know in retrospect that the Lord planted them there because he wanted me, you know, as the light there. You know, if you're in a dark place, if you're in a theater and all the lights go out and you're one person, you have one candle, that one light, everybody can follow you and get out. So sometime in your neighborhood, you may be on your block the only light that they have. And so God had me to be a light to them and to lead them. So anyway, the Lord spoke to my heart and said, go and do the same thing. Go get some tracts. Pray over the tracts. And I had them in the car, and I should have brought them in before we leave tonight. Somebody remind me, please, I want you to pray. I've had them prayed over yesterday. I was in a nursing home in Towson for service. And the preacher prayed over them, and I want you to pray as well, because I put one of them in the hands of one of the drug dealers on yesterday, camped out on my front, but only one was there. And normally they're just like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 deep, and I want to put one in every hand. And the word says that his word will not return to him void. Amen? That's right. That's right. And even if they throw it away, somebody else will get it. Yeah. So God's will and the mission will be accomplished. And I went to the Bible bookstore, and they were so limited. I said, your tracts, the subject matter is so limited here, you know, and I'm looking for something that would be appropriate. But something piqued my interest, and I said, well, this is the best. And I was kind of between that, and I saw Josh McDowell's More Than a Carpenter and different things, and I saw the one, and it said, Missing Heaven by 18 inches. And I said, what on earth could that be? Missing heaven by 18 inches. So it piqued my interest, as I said, and I bought it. And there's 18 inches between your head and your heart. And you've seen that, and that was a wonderful thing. And that really blessed me to know, not to have head knowledge, but he's known by heart. And so that's what I selected to put in their hands and give them something to think about. But for all of your friendship, I just had to come. And as you said, truly, come without the cane, come without the walker. You've been with me every step of the way. I appreciate every encouraging word, how you've prayed. The different churches have prayed everywhere, and people have been there. It's been a harrowing experience, but God has brought me through it. In other words, he said, not yet. Lost weight and whatnot, but still I'm walking under the power of the Lord and in my power that he gives me. When I wake up in the morning, I can put one foot before the other. I know who I am. And then I looked, before I sing this little song that blessed me, as I looked at the Shriners commercial on television, and looked at St. Jude commercial and saw those little babies. One little girl was on the piano. She had a right hand and nothing over here at all but her wrist. One little boy seemed to have a shirt. I don't know if he appeared not to have any shoulders. It just bagged off him. You've seen this Shriners commercials. Seeing those children, they look, they're so, just shriveled up. And I said, Lord, forgive me when I complain. Because I'm so blessed to see those children. They're vibrant and going on and talking so well and doing the best they can. So for all of your friendship, there's still not a friend like Jesus.
Amen.
Who was there with me every step of the way. When others forsake me, sometimes your best friend will do it. A spouse or whatever will walk out. So many have had their spouses to walk out, but still there's no one. Let me have that key again there, brother. A there, so I'll be on point here. There's still not one like Jesus. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Then none else could heal all our souls' diseases. No, not one. No, not one. And in the lonely hours of the hospital when nobody could feel my pain but he, there's not an hour that he is not near us. Think about it. No, not one. No, not one. Jesus knows all about every one of our struggles.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
He will guide us till the day is done. There's not one friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. No, not one. Maybe difficult to get through it today. I'm filled up. Did ever saint find this friend? Forsake him. He never did. No, not one. No, not one. Oh, sinner, find that he would not take him. No, not one. No, not one. My throat is closed. I want you to help me sing the chorus. Jesus knows all about our struggles. Sing it, y'all. He will guide us till the day is done.
Yes.
Thank you, because there's not a friend like the lowly Jesus. Oh, thank him.
Yes.
No, not one. No, not one. Let's just worship the Lord a minute. Just thank him for the
Thank you,
deliverance.
Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus. There's not a friend like you, Jesus. No, not one. Search the world over if it were possible. We can't find a friend like you. Stay closer. A friend who sticketh closer than a brother. Thank you, Jesus, because you were there all the time. Never left me when the dirty devil told me that you had forsaken me, forgot all about me. Thank you, Lord, you were there. Laid your hands upon me, your grace and mercy. There's not a friend like you, Jesus, today. Oh, every prayer that went forth, Lord, those who loved me, oh God, every call made, every card sent. Oh God, when I was by myself on the bed of affliction, you never left me, Lord. When the doctors were not standing there, Lord, when the medicine didn't work, yet you were there. There's not a friend. Glory. Thank you, Lord. Yes, I love you today, Lord, because you first loved me. There is not a friend like the lowly Jesus. No, not one. Bless your name. You got us till the day is done. And I thank you, sir, for it. Thank you for the love and the mercy and the truth. Your truth, truly marching on. Not a friend. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.